I'm fucked up, homie, you fucked up, but if God got us, then we gon' be alright.
Nigga, we gon' be alright. Nigga, we gon' be alright.
Now before this video formally starts, I want to give you guys some channel updates because apparently the status quo for our channel is that once per year, one of us has to drop an update about where we've been, what's coming up, blah 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 blah. So I shall follow the status quo as per usual and give you guys what's actually going on in my life. Well, not really, but what's actually going to come up. I will be back with the Gaming Peasants videos as I do enjoy making those. I'm just having trouble at the moment finding material. I don't want to do the usual console gaming is better than PC gaming because blah blah blah. If I do the same thing over and over again in the same variety of video, the series will get stale for you. And I don't want that to happen as I'm very happy with this series. Not every day you get to debunk stuff that's wrong. Well, unless you go to an art school, heyo. However, the next one, I can't say. I just know I will be back with a new Gaming Peasants video as soon as I can. Also, I want to thank you guys for having us reach 330 subscribers, or 331. Yeah, God, my phone. Well, I don't do this stuff without a script anyway, so why don't we keep going? It seems as though that you guys do enjoy our content, so I thank you very much. However, I feel as though I'm being left out of this due to my laziness, procrastination, or lack of ideas, or any combination of the three. That's going to change. Now, let's get to the actual meat and potatoes of this video and get me out of redundant town. We're going to talk about Fallout 4. The one game that's got everybody up in arms. I want to sit here and I want to give you guys my opinions, my experiences, everything from my point of view. Now before I do that, I got to give you guys some a prologue of sorts. Fallout 4 was released on October 17, 2015 to a lot of excitement. And when it came out, it was followed with a lot of disappointment. A lot of people were mad, sad, disappointed, or even angry about the recent Fallout and all of its inclusions and mostly its exclusions. Fallout 4 has been heralded as the not Fallout game. It's a good game, there's no doubting that. It's just not a good Fallout game. And I thought I'd take the time to educate you on why that's the point. You may have heard a lot of videos detailing the discretions against Fallout 4 from people like Mr. Caption or, to a lesser extent, Mr. Matty Plays. However, I'm not speaking as a Bethesda fanboy. I used to be, but not anymore. I'm speaking as a consumer of this game that's been playing. I have 42 hours into this game as of now, and I've beaten the main quest, so I feel as though I can come to you guys and share my experiences on why this game makes me look upon it as a mediocre game. A mediocre Fallout game, let me convert it, because it's a good game. It's a really good game, but it's a mediocre Fallout game. And as you can see from my recording, I have installed a bunch of mods because you literally, I don't see how anybody can play this game without mods, especially if you're on console. Dear Lord, I feel sorry for you guys. Sub 30 frames per second fights indoors. You guys are stronger than me. I can't even play games at 30 frames per second anymore. That's why I don't even play Dark Souls on PC. However, that's not the point of this video. I'm rambling. Let me detail on what this video is going to entail. Well, this video will go over my experience with the main quests, interactions, side quests, or the ones I've done, how it's different from the other games, and if that's good or not. So, let's start off with that story. I'm going to recap everything that's happened in the story, but I'm not going to go into immense detail. So, if you haven't played the game yet, spoiler alert, you've been warned. I'm going to give you 3 seconds to find the point in the video in which I put on the screen here for you to go to, in case you don't want to get the story spoiled for you. I'm going to give you 5 seconds. Okay, now that those people are to the place where I talk about the gameplay or whatever, let's go over the story. You either play as Nora, who's a retired law graduate, a recently graduated law student, or you played as the male character whose name escapes me at the moment, who is an ex-soldier. Now immediately this is not a good thing, because the previous Fallout games had you pick your own story, quite literally. In Fallout 3, you grow up in the vault and you get to see what a vault is like, and on your way to potentially rescuing your dad or not, the choice is completely up to you. You can shape who you want to be. You can be the lone wanderer or the savior of the DC wasteland and help Project Purity flourish, or you could just kill everybody and become a raider. The choice is up to you. In Fallout New Vegas, you could side with I forget his name at the moment, guy. The man on the TV screen. You can side with him and claim the strip for yourself in a neutral kind of ending. You can sign with Kaiser's Legion and take over the Mojave Wasteland, or you can side with the NCR and take over the wasteland with them. With the guy on the TV, Big Happy TV screen man being the neutral ending, the NCR being the good ending, and Kaiser's Legion being the bad ending. However, Fallout New Vegas had more of a way of having you complete all the stories the way you want to, shaping your story. In Fallout 3, you could make your character out to be a person who's already been through the wasteland for some reason, even though it kind of canonically doesn't make sense, but whatever. Fallout New Vegas has a better way of you experiencing freedom in the wasteland. You could say you've already been to the New Vegas Strip, you've already been experienced on how things work out here in the Commonwealth. That's why, or not the Commonwealth, the Mojave Wasteland. That's why in my second playthrough here on PC, I decided to side with the Powder Gangers and become a bad guy. I'm gonna end up siding with Kaiser's Legion, so yeah, prepare for that. Since I sided with Big TV Screen Man in my Xbox 360 gameplay. With Fallout 4, you're either an ex-soldier or a law student graduate. And I don't really see why they made this choice. However, it feels though that they should have started the game with you exiting the pod. Because when you make your character, you make it what they look like, which is the best created character scene in any Fallout game. I will give them that, especially with the mods. You can pick your story, which only Codsworth, or not your story, you can pick your name, so presumably only Codsworth says your name, so I don't really know. The second playthrough, my first playthrough had a name that they didn't recognize, so that's the thing. You pick your character, and then you go to the special, then you go to the vault, you get sealed inside, and you get cryo-frozen for 200 years. In my opinion, you should have began the story 200 years later. Like, get rid of the whole first part about you being in pre-Great War America, or in this case, Boston. If you get rid of that first part and just woke up with you in cryo, or not even cryo, just woke up with you leaving the vault, that could even open you up to a lot of possibilities. Hell, just getting rid of that first part in the story will literally make your character yours. That way, you're not tied to any preconceived notion or preconceived story about your character. But I guess we have to live with what we get. You make your character, you get cryo-frozen, and upon waking up for a brief minute, waking up for a brief minute, you see an Institute scientist, an Institute scientist along with Kellogg, who is one of the main protagonists in the game, come in and steal your baby and shoot your spouse, whether it be the man or the woman, depending on who you picked. You open this thing, get his wedding ring if you so want to, navigate yourself through the Commonwealth. I keep saying the Commonwealth, it's not the Commonwealth yet. You navigate yourself through the vault, which is Vault 11, and you eventually get out. And then you see the Commonwealth, Boston 200 years later. This is a momentous sight, which it really is. You see all this before your eyes change, and your character feels it, but even though you kind of don't feel it because, one, we don't have that much attachment to this character yet. And having your husband, or wife in this case, get shot early in the game kind of defeats the purpose of them being around. I mean, if all three kind of pulled the same thing with your mother getting will die while giving birth to you. However, we weren't really meant to get to know her. We weren't really meant to have a strong connection with her. We know of her. She died giving birth to you, and you don't really think of her since. It feels like they were going for the same thing in Fallout 4, but it kind of failed. Anyway, you can either go to see Codsworth, or you can just skulk around to other places. When you go see Codsworth, he tells you about Sanctuary, and you can either go there to see Preston Garvey and the Minutemen, or you can skulk around a bit with Codsworth. In this place, before you get to the Red Rocket Inn, before you get to Sanctuary, you can either have Codsworth as a companion, Dogmeat as a companion if you run into Red Rocket Inn, or when you get to Sanctuary after you complete some quests, you can have Preston Garvey as a companion. The companions in this game are vastly better. I will give them that. Except for Dogmeat. I hate Dogmeat. I only use Dogmeat for one thing, and that's to get a Cryolator in the beginning of the game. I took him to Sanctuary, and I even took him to Diamond City. After that, he kind of became useless. After that, I turned him loose, put him back at the Red Rocket Inn, and took Preston along with me. And I quickly began to hate Preston. Preston's a well-meaning guy after all. He's not a douche, he's just annoying. And I ended up turning him loose after we go on to Trinity Tower trying to rescue an announcer, which is given to you in the mission by the Diamond City. You make it to Diamond City, you meet Piper, who is going off on the mayor, who's, spoiler alert, a synth, and trying to keep her out. Through some shenanigans in the city, you find out that a radio announcer is getting ready to be is trapped in Trinity Tower. So you help him out, and you get him back to the Commonwealth. And here's where I met my companion throughout most of the game, Strong. Strong to me is a good companion. I like his personality, and I like that he can. This time around, companions don't just fight with you. They can carry stuff, they can micromanage stuff, they can do all kind of things. And I think this is a factor who, depending on who the character is, they can carry more. Because I remember stashing a whole bunch of stuff with Strong than I did when I incorporated Piper towards the end of the game. Anyway, I turned Preston Garvey loose, went back to Diamond City, and then I met up with Dick Valentine, who seemed to have some data about what you're talking about. After some quests regarding an old friend of his and a mob, you go to Good Neighbor with Dr. Amari, who can... Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here. The story so far seems to be going alright, but you see that you may see something here that's kind of weird. Yeah, text. As you know, Fallout 4 is infamous exclusion of the well thought out and well flourished dialogue system from 1, 2, 3 and New Vegas are gone and replaced with one word dialogue options that don't even tell you what you're gonna say. And you can have no more than 4, and you can have no less than 4. This is a hindrance because often you can pick stuff that you don't mean to pick, or the description of what you pick is vague, which it is on a lot of occasions, that you may not know what you're gonna say. Thank God for mods, because I actually did a dialogue extender which, sure enough, tells you what you're actually going to say before you say it. Hooray! People are working on this game more than Bethesda. I don't see the rhyme or the reason to omit this feature. You might be saying, well, this is the first Fallout game in the franchise on the new generation. I mean, people might be confused. A lot of people's first Fallout game was Fallout 3. And nobody, except for some people even brand new, had a problem with the dialogue system or how it was how it was displayed. I'm sure people won't have a problem with it either. Okay, I'm ragging on this game a lot, so let me at least get some positives out of the way. This game is gorgeous. Very, very gorgeous. It is hands down the best looking Fallout game of all time. And I don't know if there's gonna be a Fallout 5 or a Fallout New Orleans or a Fallout St. Louis or a Fallout whatever. But these graphics, ooh boy, especially on PC running at 1080p 60 frames per second. Well, when it can. I'll get to that later. After your shenanigans with Nick Valentine and his old buddy, you go to Good Neighbor, talk to Hancock, and you're really there to talk to Dr. Amari. Dr. Amari tells you to go kill this one Courser, or you go kill Kellogg. Well, you go kill Kellogg, and well, he's a synth. Blah blah blah. Also, there's this one segment of his where he's a synth, or I don't know. It seems like they had the good intentions while introducing Kellogg and going through his mind after you kill him. But I don't know. It was kind of the transition between Fallout 4 to Beyond Two Souls was kind of jarring. Anyway, let's continue with the story. You get the Corsair chip dropped from Kellogg after you dialogue him or whatever, and he tells you about the Institute. That's your first run-in with the Institute. Nick, who happens to be a synth, is able to, through some matter of folly, be able to encode Kellogg's memory chip, which helps him relay messages by Kellogg. And you learn a little bit more about the Institute. You talk to Dr. Amari, and then after encoding Kellogg's memories, you're just to go to the Glowing Sea, where you're running into Virgil, who was an ex-Institute scientist, who is run into a super mutant. Who's turned into a super mutant. After a whole Bethesda thing of go get this, go get that, return me this, return me that, he gets you the components to get into the Institute, and he tells you to please, if you go into the Institute, give me the serum that will make me not a super mutant. Strong hates it if I do this, but I just can't leave him to die. Because, hey, character interaction. This one brought up something that was noteworthy and continues throughout the majority of the series, or the game. Virgil will absolutely not reconcile or deal with being a super mutant. I got him a cure, he took the cure, even Strong's coaxing and my coaxing as well, tried to convince him to stay a super mutant because of all the advantages. You either give him the serum and he turns back into a human after a few days, you tell him there is no serum and he tells you to kill him, or you tell him you don't get him the serum and you kill him. He will not accept being a super mutant. No matter, you couldn't have given us like an intelligence option, or not intelligence, a charisma option that has speech saying, hey, being super mutant isn't all that bad. You can possibly wreak havoc and be strong and everything. You could probably be a good ally. But no, he won't accept that. Just like later in the game when I get to a dialogue option with Father, but I'll get to that in a minute. After that, throughout your meetings with Virgil, you come in contact with the Railroad, which is an organization who goes out and rescues synths and helps them live a normal life. This is the faction. This is one of the main story factions. You either have the Brotherhood of Steel, the Institute, the Railroad, or the Minutemen. In my first gameplay, I had little to no contact with the Brotherhood of Steel, apart with that first mission with Dance, which was a side mission in retrospect. And I had little to no contact with the Minutemen, other than tagging along with me for the first hour of the gameplay. So for me, it was either the Institute or the Railroad, and I sided with the Railroad. Because no matter how they try to form it, the Institute is feared for a reason. The whole driving force behind this story is that the Institute, which is a hidden advanced technological society in Scientist City, they're kidnapping people, killing them, and replacing them with robot counterparts. No matter how you try to spin that, they're kidnapping people and replacing them with robot counterparts. They are the bad ending. There is no way around that. Like, no matter how they try to spin it, I'm saying it for the third time, they're the bad guy. You can't get around that. You come in contact with the railroad, and after you get some stuff, the railroad instructs you to go get some supplies needed to get into the institute, probably, which is gathering supplies needed for a transport, because the only way into the institute is via transportation. After that, you get in and you meet the end-all be-all father, who is actually Sean. Sean is over 200 years old, like you. However, Sean has cancer and is gonna die. Now, what I was referring to earlier is that Sean says he will give you a robot counterpart to love and care for. Now, when you're first introduced to this, in a normal Fallout game, this is what would happen. Sean asked me, do you think you can love this robot artificial me, little boy, as you would love the real me? Your options are either yes, no, there is no option for yes. Your options are either no, maybe, and I don't know. There is no option for yes. This is why having 4 options is terrible. You couldn't give us a yes, no, maybe, or I don't know. The game wants you to do the right thing and doesn't want you to be an asshole. But you're stripping us of freedom, something that Fallout is based on. Why would you do that? If you would have given the option to say, yeah, I think I can love the synth the same way as you, that would be awesome. It would show that my character could be heartless and not care about Sean, but that's not a character in the game. However, giving us that option at least let us know you're giving us the freedom. But you're not, so you didn't. Anyway, father instructs that you do some stuff for him to help the betterment of the institute. Along down the road, he reveals that the enemy of the institute is the railroad because of their synth doing, and that he's going to die, as a way they possibly guilt trip the player or something, siding with them. I didn't side with the institute. So after the mass fusion mission, which kind of going to get the beryllium, whatever, which made me an enemy to the Brotherhood of Steel, I didn't sign up with the institute. I went back to Desdemona, who's the leader of the railroad, I might add, said, I'm not going to kill you, but they want me to kill you. So basically what we did is we ran up in their house after some complicated work. We gunned down all the institute robots because there were some synths inside of the institute that actually wanted to get out and flourish in society. And I got father to help me because I had high enough speech. And I shut down the institute and we blew it up and ended the main story. Or at least my interpretation of it. I skipped a lot of the filler. All you really need to know is that you wake up, you walk around, you find the institute, you either side institute or you side against the institute. I just gave you my interpretation of the gameplay. I'm skipping over the beryllium's mission where you have, or mass fusion where you side against the Brotherhood of Steel to get the beryllium, whatever. I skipped over the Brotherhood of Steel mission where you have to blow up their vertibird. And I skipped a whole bunch of little trinkets that weren't really important in the grand scheme of things. The story is okay. It's alright for a normal RPG or adventure game. It has holes in it. Like, why can't my character say yes to the option to love a synth earlier, but at the end of the story, she says, okay, yeah, I can love you now. What changed between then and now? Why would you give me that option? Why would you not give me that option earlier if you're going to do it now? It's like the last minute half-ass effort to put it in because the developers knew they messed up. But oh well, that's the story. It's okay. However, for a Fallout game, it's not good at all. I just wish more freedom could have went into this. Fallout is a game about freedom. It's about choice. It's about all kinds of things that you want to do, and the game's catered to you. So why would they omit the whole grand scheme of things that made it about you, the player? This is not a Fallout game that is worth writing home about. The graphics are pretty, yes. Very pretty. And on that segue, I'll talk about some positives of the game. Other than the graphics, The companions, as I mentioned earlier, are also a step up from previous games. Not only do they just follow and fight with you, they can also carry items with you, go fetch items for you, and also help you craft items as well. And you can even, and just like the other games, you can equip them with different armor or stuff. It's really cool, and I'm glad they actually did this perfectly and expanded upon the other games. Another thing that they actually did well is the shooting. The shooting is finally good in a Fallout game. Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas shootings was terrible. It was straight up terrible. You could aim point blank or in your markings. You could aim right at a thing and you could not hit it. Your probability to miss was great higher, and you were heavily reliant on the VAT system. Now this time, I felt as though the VAT system was there to help me in case I needed it, unlike it being a crutch in the other games. So that's really good. I'm glad that they made that the way it is. Another thing that I really like about Fallout 4 is also the dialogue can be really cool. I do like the way that a lot of characters do bounce off of each other, like the sarcastic retorting between your character and Piper. Basically, a lot of the sarcastic options, even though sarcastic is kind of blah as an option, it kind of strips the players, they're pretty funny. There have been times where I have laughed out loud, and it was effective. I liked it a lot. Also, where you find the little Pit-Boy games, that's a nice little distraction, I guess. You can play old games like Pitfall or Donkey Kong, but just Fallout skins all over it. It's pretty cool. And the last thing I like to commend this game heavily for is the voice acting. This is the best voice acting in any Fallout game. Any Fallout game. It includes 3 and 4. This voice acting is awesome. You can tell that the voice actors put a lot of care and trust into their lines. Even your voice character, which I found to be unnecessary, but we'll touch on that a little bit later. The voice acting is really good. I'm glad that it isn't just mediocre or sometimes bad like the other ones. Even though we don't get that many choices in the options to speak like your characters in previous games, I'm just glad that they did it. Now let's move on to some things that I didn't find too keen. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, how premature of me. And a lot of the side missions are pretty good too. I love the Silver Shroud mission. However, this game is so buggy that I couldn't get past a certain part. Let me run you through it. Here we go. I just sent a message. How professional of me. Now, it was the last mission of the Silver Shroud mission. I had to go rescue Kent Conway, who had Conway, I forgot his name, but I had to go rescue Kent, who helped you with the Silver Shroud all the time. Now, what I had to do was I had to take the elevator down through a hospital-looking area, kill Raiders and the robots to get there. However, I was here earlier in the main story, and the game kind of assumes that I killed all the robots. I did not. So what happened is I took one elevator down, and below me was supposed to be a way for me to get down to the basement. However, Raiders and robots started going after each other, and Kent died. This isn't a required thing to finish the story, but I just wanted to have Kent alive. And the way that this game is coded, that it bugged out and forced me to use a no-clip code in order to get past the robot things and take the elevator down so I can get Kent the proper way. That's pretty bad. The bugs are very game-breaking. It can be game-breaking. The bugs are a problem, like in any Fallout game. And yeah, I got to fix them with a mod after the Silver Shroud side mission with simple bug fixes. Now, Bethesda games, especially with Fallout, have a bad track record with being bugged. Why? Why would you have this reputation for yourself? This is not a good reputation to uphold. Fix your games before you ship them out. You need bug testers, and if you have bug testers, you need more or qualified ones. Because what you're doing now ain't working. Also, the weapon variety in this game is kind of lackluster. I mean, I use the code at the end of the game to see all the kinds of weapons you can get. There were so many variations of the pipe rifle. Why all the variations of the pipe rifle? We don't need this many pipe rifles. The weapon variety is like a little thing that I just want to touch upon because there are so many variations of that same pipe rifle. It was ridiculous. The Cryolator is the best weapon in the game. However, you can't just go around spamming it and everything. It freezes your opponent in place and then you get to do whatever. It also does damage. And it basically wrecks everybody you come across. And as you get stronger, the weapon gets stronger. Which is another thing I hate about this game. Scaling. The scaling is broken. As you increase in level, so do the enemies. No matter where you are, no matter where you've been, no matter where you're going. See, I'm unaware if the other Fallout games did this or not, but if they did, it's also bad. If the enemies scale with you, you might be saying, oh, well, that's just a way for them to, just giving a better challenge. But what's the use of the... But that defeats the process of you leveling up. You level up to feel stronger, more experienced, more cunning, more everything in the wasteland. If you have enemies and weapons that scale with you, it makes you feel like you made no progress. Let's just say, for instance, there's a group of raiders near Diamond City. Since you go to Diamond City near the beginning of the game, that should be low level kind of raiders. In any other game, then if I were to become level 69 or whatever, I would decimate those raiders. Probably even with a punch. But in this game, I haven't came across those raiders yet. When I get to level 69, they're also at level 69. And they get to have an equal challenge with me, even though that's not good. Not all the enemies scale, because I do have not a problem taking out soft shell Mirelurks. But I do have problems taking out some raiders, including when they mutate into legendaries, which happens more often as soon as you progress. I mentioned the side missions earlier, and the side missions are okay for the most part, but a lot of them kind of disappointed me. Like the side mission where you have to investigate the Museum of Witchcraft. You go there and you find some warriors who were investigating the place, and you hear like a whole loud shriek in their holotape, and you get to investigate what happened. You don't know what can happen. I even purposely turned off my radio in order to feel the scares. You don't know what could happen. You don't know what it could be. Your mind is filled with all amazement. I get up there, and it's just a Deathclaw. It was a strong Deathclaw, but it was a Deathclaw nonetheless. Piper and I decimated him, and I did the rest of the mission. And a lot of side missions have you doing it for nothing. The Brotherhood of Steel holotape mission comes to mind. You find a fallen Brotherhood tribe from a distress signal you pick up. You follow all the Brotherhood of Steel distress signals, and then you go back to a Brotherhood of Steel base to where one guy is there. He basically says, oh, my tribe is dead? Okay. Take everything you need. Just go. You've done all this just to get into a place where I could have hacked into easily anyway. But not all the side missions are bad. I did enjoy the Silver Shroud side mission. It was really, really good. I enjoyed the campiness and the whole dialogue option of your character. It made me laugh. Except for that last part, which I brought up. But god Damn it. Which, apart from that last part, which I actually brought up, which was kind of annoying, but it was a bridge to get over, so I got over the bridge. In conclusion, this game has a lot of problems. These are just my experiences with Fallout 4. Fallout 4 is not a good Fallout game. It is a good game, but not a good Fallout game. It is a pretty game. It's a game with good shooting. However, it's a game with limited dialogue options. It's a game with limited crafting options. It's a game where you get freaking power armor in the first hour of the game. And it's a game that falls short of its predecessors. Can Bethesda come back? I don't know. I hope they do, for their sake. If you like this video, like the video. Next time I come back, it'll be a Game Pass video. I promise. I'm with the BitGod. Stay sexy.
Alright.
And when I wake up, I recognize you looking at me for the pay cut. Bahamas, I be looking at you from the face down. One Mac 11, even room with the bass down. Skimming, and let me tell you about my life.